The chandelier above the dining table threw strange shadows across everyone's faces. 12 people sat in a circle around me, and I didn't understand why half of them were even there. "Sit down, Megan." My mother-in-law, Suzanne, spoke sharply. This wasn't her usual passive-aggressive tone. This was colder. Final. I stood frozen in the doorway of the formal dining room, still wearing my anniversary dress. The red one Brock loved. The one I bought just for tonight. Our 7th anniversary. I had planned something special. A restaurant reservation I'd made 3 months ago. But an hour earlier, Brock had texted me. "Come home. Family meeting. Important. No happy anniversary. No heart emoji." Just 6 words that pulled me away from dinner and straight into this nightmare. Now I stood there, staring at familiar faces and 2 strangers. A young blonde woman sat next to my husband. She looked about 25. Her hand rested on the shoulder of a little boy, maybe 4 years old. He had Brock's dark curls, Brock's sharp chin. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I might throw up on Suzanne's Persian rug. "What's going on?" I asked. My voice sounded small. Brock wouldn't look at me. He stared down at his plate like it held the answers to the universe. Suzanne folded her hands on the table. She was wearing her pearls, the ones she only wore for special occasions. Had she dressed up for this? "We've called this family meeting," she said, "because there's a situation that needs to be addressed. Adult to adult. Family to family." "What situation?" I was still standing. My legs wouldn't move. Kyle, Brock's brother, stood up and pulled out a chair. "Megan, please sit." I looked at him. He looked sorry. Truly sorry. Unlike the others, who looked uncomfortable, or in Suzanne's case, almost excited. I sat. Suzanne cleared her throat. "This is Amber," she said, gesturing to the blonde woman. "And this is Tyler. He's 4. "Okay," I said slowly. "Why are they here?" "Because they're family," Brock's father, Houston, said. "Blood family." The room felt like it tilted. "Amber is Brock's wife," Suzanne said calmly. Like she'd practiced this. "They were married 5 years ago in a private ceremony. Tyler is their son." The words hit me one by one. Wife. 5 years. Son. "That's not possible," I whispered. "We've been married 7 years. "Yes," Suzanne said. "And Brock has been married to Amber for 5. I looked at Brock. He finally looked at me. "I'm sorry," he said. His eyes were empty. "You're what?" I couldn't breathe. "You're married to both of us?" I asked. "Not legally," Houston said quickly. "Only your marriage is legal. But in the eyes of God and this family, Amber is his wife too." I jumped up so fast my chair crashed to the floor. "This is insane. You're all insane." "Sit down, Megan," Suzanne snapped. "We're not finished." "Not finished." I laughed. It sounded hysterical. What else could there possibly be? "Amber and Tyler are moving into the house," Brock said quietly. "Starting next week." "Moving in?" I repeated. "Into our house?" "It's big enough," Suzanne said. 5 bedrooms. "You only use 1. "You've got to be kidding me." "We're not," Houston said. "This family has made a decision. Brock has responsibilities to both of you. You expect me to accept this?" I shouted. "She's not a mistress," Suzanne said sharply. "She's his wife. You'll treat her with respect." "Or what?" Susan smiled. "It was cruel. Or you can leave," she said. "But you won't get a penny. We have excellent lawyers." I looked around the room. Emma and Grace wouldn't meet my eyes. Jeffrey shrugged. Amos and Linda nodded along. Everyone knew. Only Kyle looked uneasy. "You all knew," I said. No one answered. I looked at Amber. She smiled. Small. Satisfied. "I know this is a shock," she said softly. "But we can make this work. For Brock's sake. For Tyler's sake. For Brock's sake." I repeated. "Tyler needs his father," she said. "Brock visits us 3 times a week. But it's not enough. 3 times a week. Every late night. Every golf trip. Every conference." I turned to Brock. "Are you going to say anything?" "I never meant for it to happen like this," he said. I was going to tell you. When? I don't know. Soon. He was trying to protect you, Suzanne said. Amber's lease is up. It's time to face reality. They all stared at me, waiting for tears, waiting for me to break. But something cold settled over me. Well, I said slowly, sitting back down, since we're sharing secrets tonight, I have one too. Brock frowned. Megan. I'm pregnant. The room went silent. Emma gasped. Grace stared. Even Suzanne looked shocked. You're pregnant. Brock stood up. Why didn't you tell me? I was going to. Tonight. At our anniversary dinner. Houston cleared his throat. Well, that's good news. Brock isn't the father, I said. Silence. What did you say? Brock whispered. You're not the father. Susan stood so fast she knocked over her wine glass. Red liquid spread across the tablecloth. That's impossible. I could, I said calmly. And I did. Brock grabbed my arm. Who is the father? I pulled away. Does it matter? Yes. I stood up and looked around the table. You want to know who the father is? I asked quietly. Everyone nodded. I paused. Let them wait. My name is Megan Cole Lewis. I became Megan Porter 7 years ago. I should have seen the signs. I grew up in a small town. My dad was a mechanic. My mom was a librarian. I was the first in my family to go to college. That's where I met Brock. He came from money. I came from nothing. Suzanne never let me forget it. She taught me how to dress, how to speak, how to be a proper wife. I endured it all because I loved Brock. The first year was good. Then the late night started. Then the golf trips. Then the distance. Act like it. So I did. I became the perfect Porter wife. I went to charity luncheons. I organized fundraisers. I smiled at country club dinners and laughed at bad jokes from terrible men. I became exactly what they wanted, and I lost myself completely. By year 6, I noticed small things. A woman's earring in his car. A text he quickly deleted. The smell of unfamiliar perfume on his shirts. Am I paranoid? I asked my friend Jenna over coffee. She was my only friend left from my old life, before I became a porter. Trust your gut, she said. Your gut is always right. I didn't trust my gut. I trusted my husband. Until tonight, our 7th anniversary. It's Kyle, I said. For a moment, no one moved. No one breathed. Then everything exploded. What? Brock lunged at his brother. Kyle jumped up, hands raised. Brock, wait. You slept with my wife. Brock's face turned purple. I'd never seen him like this. Brock, calm down. I tried. But Brock swung at Kyle. His fist hit Kyle's jaw with a sickening crack. Kyle stumbled back, hitting the wall. Pictures fell. Glass shattered. Stop it. Suzanne screamed. Houston grabbed Brock. Brock was breathing hard, staring at Kyle with pure hatred. How could you? He spat. How could you do this to me? Kyle touched his jaw, wincing. How could I? How could you? He gestured at Amber, who was crying and holding Tyler. You have a whole other family, Brock. Secret wife. Secret kid. And you're mad at me? That's different, Brock shouted. How is it different? Kyle demanded. Because she's my wife, Brock yelled. She's mine, I said quietly. Everyone turned to me. I stood there in my red dress, calm. The panic and hurt had turned cold and sharp. I'm not yours, I continued. I never was. I was just convenient. The legal wife. The one you could show off at family dinners while you played house with her. I nodded at Amber. Megan, please. Brock reached for me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Suzanne sat down heavily. She looked fragile. Tell me this isn't true, she whispered.
Kyle looked at me.
I nodded slightly. It was true. Susan made a sound like she'd been shot. Both my sons, Houston said slowly. Both of you have betrayed this family. I betrayed the family? Kyle laughed bitterly. Brock is the one who committed bigamy. It's not legally bigamy, Suzanne said. Kyle snorted. Oh, well, that makes it so much better. He only betrayed his wife and lied to everyone for 5 years. Totally fine. This is different, Houston insisted. What Brock did was wrong, yes. But it was for love. Amber gave him a son. Something Megan couldn't do. The words hit me like a slap. Couldn't do. I repeated it. Couldn't do. You've been married 7 years, Suzanne said. See, 7 years and no children. What were we supposed to think? That maybe your son was too busy impregnating someone else to impregnate me? Emma, silent until now, spoke up. Wait. Let me get this straight. You're all mad at Megan for sleeping with Kyle, but Brock can have a whole second family? Stay out of this, Emma, Suzanne snapped. No, I don't think I will, Emma said. She was 25. Always the rebel. This is insane. You brought her here. She gestured to Amber and Tyler, and expected Megan to just accept it, move over and make room. We expected her to be mature, Suzanne said. Emma laughed. Mature? Dad's brother had an affair 30 years ago, and you still won't speak to him. But Megan is supposed to smile and share her husband? That's different? How? How is it different? Suzanne didn't answer. Grace, the middle sister, finally spoke. Megan, is it really Kyle's baby? I looked at Kyle. His steady gray eyes were warm. Brock's were always cold. Yes, I said. Kyle is the father. Brock made us sound like a wounded animal. When, he demanded. When did this happen? Does it matter? I asked. Yes, it matters. I tilted my head. Why? You've been sleeping with her for 5 years. You have a whole life I knew nothing about. Why do you get details about mine? Because you're my wife. And what is she? I pointed at Amber. Brock opened his mouth. No words came. Amber stood, clutching Tyler. This is too much for him, she said, voice shaking. He shouldn't be hearing this. Then maybe you shouldn't have brought him here to watch my life fall apart, I said coldly. Megan, Kyle started. Don't, I said. Just don't. I looked around at the shocked faces. Let them be disgusted. Let them feel a fraction of what I felt when they brought his mistress into my home and expected me to smile. I'm leaving, I announced. You can't leave, Suzanne said. We're not finished. Yes, we are, I said. I grabbed my purse. You wanted to destroy me tonight. You wanted to break me. Well, congratulations. You did. But I'm not going to let you enjoy it. Megan, wait. Brock grabbed my wrist. We need to talk about this. About the baby? There's nothing to talk about, I said. The baby is Kyle's, not yours. You have Tyler. I'll have this one. We're even. We're not even, Brock shouted. You're still my wife, I said quietly. His hand dropped. I walked out of that dining room with my head high, even though inside I was screaming. I made it to my car before the tears came and drove to the only place I could think of, Jenna's apartment. She took one look at me and pulled me inside. What happened? I told her everything. Every word. Every shocked face. Every moment of that nightmare dinner. Holy shit, she whispered. I know. Wait, she frowned. Are you actually pregnant? I nodded. And Kyle is really the father? I looked at her, my best friend since college. The one who had never judged me. No, I said. Kyle isn't the father. Jenna's eyes went wide. Then who? Brock is the father, I said slowly. She stared at me. I don't understand. I'm 12 weeks pregnant with Brock's baby, I said. But I told them it was Kyle's. I wanted him to hurt the way I was hurting. I wanted him to feel what it's like to be betrayed. Megan, she said softly. They brought her into your house, didn't they? They brought his mistress and her son into our home on our anniversary and expected me to just accept it, I said. Like I was nothing, like I didn't matter. Her voice was quiet. So, you broke them instead? I broke them instead, I agreed. She was quiet. What about Kyle? He backed me up, I said. I remembered the nod, the look in his eyes. He's decent, unlike the rest of that family. My phone started ringing. Brock. I declined. It rang again. Suzanne. Declined. Houston. Declined. You should turn it off, Jenna said. I did. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. I haven't thought that far ahead. Do you want to stay here tonight? Can I? Of course. She squeezed my hand. Stay as long as you need. I slept on her couch, but I didn't really sleep. I stared at the ceiling, replaying everything. Brock's face when I said I was pregnant. The hope in his eyes for a moment before I destroyed it. His shock. Houston's disgust. Kyle backing me up without hesitation. Why did he do that? We'd always been friendly. Not close. Not close enough to take the fall for a pregnancy that wasn't his. At 7 a.m., there was a knock. Jenna had already gone to work at the hospital. I almost didn't answer, but something made me check. Kyle stood there, holding 2 coffees. Hi. Can I come in? I stepped aside. We sat at opposite ends of the couch. He handed me my exact order. Vanilla latte with oat milk. I didn't know he knew. Kyle sat quietly, sipping his coffee. I stared at the ceiling, trying to find words. My chest felt tight, my stomach still twisting from last night. You don't have to explain, he said finally. I get it. I understand why you did it. I shook my head. You don't understand. You have no idea what it's like to have your entire life torn apart in one evening. My husband brought his other family into our home and expected me to smile. Kyle's eyes softened. You didn't smile, though. You stood up for yourself. I had to, I admitted. But it wasn't enough. Everything they said, it's still ringing in my head. She couldn't give him a child. She wasn't enough. I laughed bitterly. Wasn't enough. Imagine hearing that from your mother-in-law after 7 years of trying. Kyle flinched. I don't even know what to say. That's awful. And Brock, did he say anything after you left? I shook my head. No. I told him the baby isn't his. I told him he still has Tyler, and I'll have this one. That's it. I walked out. And you know what? It felt freeing, in a twisted way. He nodded. Good. You needed that. For your own sanity. I took a sip of my coffee, letting the warmth settle in my hands. It's just, what do I do now? I can't go back to that house. Not after last night. Not after them trying to make me accept Amber and Tyler like it's normal. Kyle leaned back, thoughtful. Honestly, you don't go back. Not now. Not ever if you don't want to. They made their choice, and you get to make yours. I thought I loved Brock, I said quietly. I thought I could forgive him for anything. But last night, seeing him defend Amber, the lies, the secrecy, the betrayal, it was like the man I married died in front of me. Kyle reached over and put a hand on mine. You didn't lose yourself, Megan. You just realized who he really is. And you're strong. You survived last night without breaking. That says everything. I stared at him, feeling the weight of his words. I don't even know if I want to see him again. I don't even know if I want to think about him ever again. You don't have to, Kyle said. And the baby, you're going to be okay. You have support. You have friends who care. You don't have to handle this alone. I let out a shaky breath. I thought I was alone. I thought no one would understand what it feels like to be replaced, to be humiliated, to be treated like I'm nothing. And now, I feel like for the first time, someone actually sees me. Kyle gave a small smile. You're not nothing. You're everything they made you believe you weren't. And Brock, he's going to have to face the consequences. Eventually. But you get to decide how your life continues. The quiet settled between us. I sipped my coffee again, trying to ignore the tightness in my chest, the lump in my throat. I can't believe it's all happening so fast. I mean, the pregnancy, the lies, the second family. It's like my life was perfect 1 second and then shattered the next. Kyle nodded. Life has a way of doing that. But this is an opportunity for you to take back control, for you to decide what you want and what you won't tolerate. I laughed, bitter but soft. Control. I haven't had any in years. Susan made sure of that. She taught me how to be the perfect Porter wife, how to smile, how to laugh at awful jokes, how to pretend I was happy while Brock was living another life behind my back. Kyle's eyes darkened. I'm sorry.
I,
I wish I could have done something. Anyone could have done something. But the truth is, this isn't on you. This is all them. Brock, Suzanne, they made their choices. You didn't. And now, you get to make yours. I stared out the window, watching the city start to wake up. A soft golden light filtered in. I thought about the baby inside me, the life growing, the choices I'd have to make. And for the first time, I didn't feel helpless. I felt determined. What are you thinking? Kyle asked, breaking the silence.